Hello, my name's Linda Wilson. My business is called Elite Counselling and I'm a counsellor on Phillip Island. So today I'm going to be talking to you about the best way to support others and especially in supporting others during this COVID-19 situation. So I've got a few things on the board here. We're going to go through them one by one. So the first thing and the best thing, and if I had to pick any of them, this would probably be the main one, is to listen to people when they're having a hard time and actively listen. Don't just hear them, actively listen. And ask yourself, are you listening to understand or are you rehearsing in your head what you're going to say next? Because most people are rehearsing in their head what they're going to say next instead of actually just wanting to understand where that person's coming from, what has happened to them, their emotions, where they're at, etc. And if someone needs some support, one of the best things you can do is just to listen with that non-judgmental ear. Listen with interest, care about them, and care about what they're saying. And you know what? Genuine listening is one of the highest forms of respect that you can pay somebody. Body language is also important. So you care or you show someone that you care in many ways, and one of them is that the non-verbals, your body language. So if you're in front of someone physically, so it's someone within your house at this point in time or over live messaging, lean forward, nod and have appropriate facial expressions. And you can still show you are listening when you're over the phone. Your body language comes through there. And think of your tone of your voice, the volume of your voice. Is it caring? Is it soothing? Is it interested? You convey a lot more through your body language than you're aware of. So please pay attention to that. Empathy. Now, genuine empathy is caring about a person even if you cannot relate to their difficulties. Remember that what upsets one person may not necessarily upset another person. So if you're thinking, oh, why are they so upset? I wouldn't be bothered about that. Learn to be compassionate, knowing that that's upsetting for them, even if you can't fully understand what they're feeling. And sometimes people say that empathy is about putting yourself in someone else's shoes. I like to say, because sometimes that's not possible, you have no frame of reference to put yourself in another person's shoes, but you can imagine what it's like for them, what it must be like for them and what they're going through. So I suggest it's less about putting yourself in their shoes and more about imagining what it's like for them. And also, if you focus on how the person is feeling and less about fixing them or trying to sort them out, then you're on track with empathy when you're focused on how they're feeling and supporting them in their feelings. Gentle curiosity is the next one. Now, ask questions. Sometimes people think, oh, if I ask questions, I'm going to sound nosy. And I say, it's okay, even if you want to preempt it with, oh, do you mind if I ask you about? Because then they can always say, oh, I'd rather not talk about that. But asking questions is important because it shows that you're interested. And gentle questions, not firing questions like bullets at them, but gentle questions that encourage them to keep speaking. Questions like, oh, and then what happened next? Or, what do you think you might do about that now? These are just lovely, gentle questions that keep a person talking. Be careful about giving advice. Now, I know that you want to give advice because you want to help a person, but be careful doing this because not everyone wants your advice. Just because someone's talking to you about some troubles they're having doesn't mean they're wanting advice. So many times people are just speaking because they want to explain how they're feeling or just tell someone and to get it out of them. And think of this. Have you ever had a bad day? Something upsetting happened and you're wanting to talk to your friend or your partner, and in the middle of you talking about it, they interrupt and say something like, right, what you need to do is, and you weren't looking for a solution, you just wanted to get it off your chest. So giving advice has many pitfalls too. So your advice, think of this. It might sound good to you, but what if it's not as good as you think it is? What if the advice you give goes totally wrong? Everything goes pear-shaped. Who do you think they come back and blame? And you know what? You're not the one that has to live with the consequences of the advice that you've given. So just be careful on it, especially if haven't asked for your advice. It's much better to truly listen to someone rather than trying to feel that you need to fix them or fix their situation. And look, unless they ask for your advice or want your opinion, maybe just allow them to speak and show them that you understand that they're having a hard time. Most of the time, people just need to know that you care about them. They're not looking for a solution or your advice. The next one is be patient. Sometimes it can be really frustrating when you're supporting someone, especially if it's gone on for a little bit of time. And I get that, I really do, when you know that they need to make changes and they're not doing it. But I encourage you to be tolerant and understanding of where they're at. Let the other person work it out in their time frame in the best way for them. Keep your promises to the other person. Now, if you say to someone, oh yes, look, I'll call you next Tuesday, you must call them next Tuesday. If Monday comes and you realise you're not going to get a chance to call them on Tuesday, you need to contact them and let them know that you won't be calling them on Tuesday. This is about supporting the other person and you having integrity with that, and doing what you say you'll do is part of that integrity. The last thing I want to talk about is about being confidential. If you are supporting someone who is sharing parts of their life with you or how they're feeling, please do not go blabbing this to other people. They have told you that in confidence. They have disclosed to you things that they didn't want to disclose to somebody else perhaps. So if someone has trusted you, you need to be worthy of their trust. Now, of course, confidentiality might need to be tweaked a little bit if they're telling you something that they're going to hurt themselves or perhaps hurt another person. And then you might need to take that a little bit further. But most of the time, you need to be confidential with what they're telling you. Most of the time, you will need to do that. So I hope this has helped. These are just some really easy ideas on how to support someone else. Mostly just listen and stop feeling the need to fix the person or to give advice. Just listen and care about them is the best thing you can do. And lots of people are going to need some support at this point in time with the COVID-19 situation. Hope this has helped. I'll see you next time.